Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update for everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. Today is November 19th. My name is Whack Whack Attack, and before we get started, I'd like to apologize for not putting out this video yesterday. It was supposed to go out on Friday evening. However, I was exhausted and I fell asleep, so it didn't go out. So it's going out now. So let's get started. The first thing we have today is something really exciting for me, which is Joe sending out this post saying we made the first LEB8 today and it worked. So they're in the DevNet testing now. That's the stage of Atlas that we're at. So the feature the feature freeze happened a few weeks ago. I guess the code freeze has happened now too. So it's being tested on local DevNet. It's going out to audit on Monday or Tuesday for the first audit. The second audit will be in the beginning of December. And then the community can go at it and test. And if there's any issues with the audits or any community stuff, then it'll be re-audited. And according to Langers in the chit chat a couple of days ago, it should be good to go on the end of January or beginning of February. He said end of January was likely to be a bit of a push, and February was more likely. So it's really exciting that we will have LEBs in just over 2 months, 2.5 months or so, which is really exciting. So LEB8s, for those of you who don't know, are a new kind of mini pool that instead of using 16 ETH from the user and 16 ETH from the protocol, you will use 8 ETH from the user and 24 ETH from the protocol. The amount of RPL required will be 10% minimum of the protocol ETH. So it'll be 2.4 ETH worth of RPL will be the minimum amount required if you want to use LEBs. So it's really exciting that this is happening, that this is coming, and that it's being tested right now. So hopefully everything goes smoothly in the audits and in the community testing. And once all that stuff happens, then we'll be in a position where we can really ramp up Rocket Pool scaling. This is, like I said, this is something I'm incredibly excited about, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it happen. So now that it's happening, it's really awesome for everyone. So thanks, Joe, for letting us know that you're testing it, and I really hope all the tests go well. So that's really cool to see. Next, we have this update from Mav about ETH Denver, and I'm going to be talking about ETH Denver a little bit today. So Mav says, so breaking news hot off the press, we've been confirmed as sponsors for ETH Denver and gonna start getting busy in this thread. So the Rocket Pool team, the protocol, I guess, are one of the official sponsors of the ETH Denver conference. ETH Denver conference is kind of like the biggest Ethereum community conference, pretty much. It happens every March in Denver, in Colorado, in the USA. And this year they're expecting around 20,000 people to turn up. That's what they're planning for. So there's this thread that I mentioned a few days ago, ETH Denver thread. It's a sub-thread of, no, actually it's part of the chat. It's a thread in chat. So you can go here, you get people's ideas about traveling to Denver, staying in Denver, pre-conference, during the conference, post-conference, all that good stuff. So I am personally, right now, it looks like I will be going to ETH Denver. I've also put my name forward to volunteer at the booth. So if you are in ETH Denver, pop by, say hi. It'll be really nice to meet people in person. Also, Ken has encouraged me to get Ethereum Media Pass so I can record while at ETH Denver and actually have interviews with community members and get those out there. I think that would be really cool. So it's something that I'm really excited about, and I'm thinking that I'll fly in and stay for the conference part. So I said here, so I'm thinking of flying in the 1st and leaving on the 7th of March, meaning I need to hang around for a couple of days for the after thingy. And the after thingy is like the ski lodge. And I said, has anyone booked flights yet? So there's the people are just kind of talking about it. I've been looking at some flights and trying to figure out how things are going to go. And people have got different information about what kind of stuff's going to be happening out there. So I think it's going to be really exciting. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be a really great way to meet a lot of people from the Rocket Pool community. These are people that we've been talking to each other for like literally for months or years, and getting to meet people in person is always like really good fun. So That's something I'm really excited about. And yeah, I'm just excited to guess about everything. Okay, next we have something else that I'm really excited about, which is the smoothing pool. So this isn't actually the most up-to-date information right now, but let me just do that. Smoothing pool. So there's a bot that Invis made, and then you get the bot, and then you have a look at what the bot is saying. So the bot is saying that right now 73.19% of node operators are in the smoothing pool. That's 1,272 out of 1,738, and that is 4,601 mini pools out of 9,548 mini pools. So this is absolutely amazing that, you know, the adoption of the smoothing pool has been so good. The reason why there's a discrepancy between number of nodes and number of mini pools in the percentage is because a lot of the bigger whales have not joined the smoothing pool, and the rewards for this period so far are 288 ETH already, and there's still like 5 days to go, which is absolutely amazing. The reason why I wanted to talk about smoothing pool today is because we've actually got a new node operator who is now the number one node operator in terms of contribution to the smoothing pool. So they're in the smoothing pool with 97 mini pools, and let's have a look at who they are a little bit. So they have 97 mini pools. They're based in Europe, in Berlin, so it's a German node operator. Their total value locked is 3,186 ETH. And their RPL percentage is 100% collateral rate, which is really great to see that they've got such a high collateral percentage. And this person's getting some nice proposals for the smoothing pool. Not, as far as I can see, not any of the lottery blocks, but yeah, they're doing a good job. So thank you so much for this new node operator. Like, welcome to the smoothing pool. Next, we have this really interesting discussion that came up from a question from blueavm.eth, and blueavm said, how rescue node of Rocket Pool works. So they're asking, how do the rescue node work that Patches talked about a few times. I heard during the merge that it was not allowed to access ETH1 remotely anymore, and it needs to be a local one. So there are a couple of things here. So before the merge, you used to be able to use like an external client for ETH1 for your execution layer, right? Like you'd be able to use Infura or Pocket, and you could link to those, and they'd be like your fallback node, or they'd be like your primary. And then now you're not able to link with those anymore. Those services don't exist anymore. So blueavm is saying, you know, how does the rescue node work? So Patches says the rescue node is a consensus client and execution client pair, so your validator connect to it the same as any fallback. I can send you a tech spec for the proposed official one if you want all the details, but it's pretty dense. And then blueavm says, do you think mega service providers can come up with this as a service, kind of a pivot from the existing model where they only give ETH1 node access? And Patches says yes, but there's larger trust assumptions. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon offered a serverless beacon node builder product at some point. However, you're trusting them not to steal your MEV/tips, same as you're trusting me and POAP not if you use the rescue node. And then said, that's the blueavm says that's important to consider. And Patches says, yeah, I'm not sure how many node operators who use the rescue node are aware of that detail. If the grant proposal gets funded, it'll be part of the registration process. You'll have to acknowledge that you're trusting the maintainers not to steal stuff, and there'll be a public list of who those people are. Just a second. Public list of who those people are. They'll probably all be rocket scientists, but not Zero or Val. So and then the conversation carries on and they go into more detail, and you can get that information from Patches as well. But this is kind of like the way it works, right? Your node starts having problems, so you connect to the Rocket Pool rescue node and use that as your execution and consensus client while you're fixing your node. So you carry on proposing, you carry on testing, all that good stuff carries on happening. It's just like using a fallback node, like a local machine that you have as a backup. So there are a few things to take note of. Like Patches says, that the security issues involved, trust assumptions involved, and Also, there's compatibility issues involved. So depending on what client combinations you have, like Nimbus at the moment, I think it doesn't allow fallback nodes, or that's coming very soon. It might be that to connect to the rescue node, you'll have to change your clients and then like resync from the beginning, but you shouldn't lose any uptime because of that. So that's something really cool. I think then further questions went into like how it's funded and how it's going to, people are going to pay for it and stuff. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work out, but when I get more details and a better understanding of it, I'll definitely tell you all about it. And then here there's a grant proposal where Patches goes into a lot more detail about it all, and you can read it. It says, TLDR, I propose a permanent rescue node service for Rocket Pool users to fall back upon during pruning, resyncing, or while fixing technical issues in general. I believe the advantage will greatly outweigh the community cost. Some background: until recently I was running based with Nimbus on my home Raspberry Pi setup. Post-merge, this was disastrous, resulting in almost exclusively missed attestations for days straight. People with similar setups, but also high-powered systems were also impacted, and then blah blah blah, like, sorry, Patches. So he breaks it all down how it's going to work, so feel free to go to the forum and read all about that, because there's a lot of information there. So moving on, now we have this kind of interesting discussion that came up from Curious George about when he should buy the RPL token, thinking, that the bottom is in. So he says, I've been waiting for like an alligator to buy RPL at a lower price, like 0.01 ETH, but it seems to be holding quite well, and I may not get a better price. Curious to know what folks think about why it is holding up so well. So the price obviously at the all-time high was around 0.02 ETH. Now it's at 0.0136 ETH. So it's come down around 35% basically since then, 30%, which is a big chunk of value that we've lost. However, I think some people expected it to go down a lot more, but it seems like the price has been holding up quite well these last few days. So that kind of brought up a discussion. Dondo replied with the ARPIT theses, and so George could read those. And Owl, looking for Owl, says, it knows you're waiting. Once you buy it, it's going to drop. And then Val, I think he came up here and he had an interesting point. Yeah. And then Val says, I see no real reason for us to drop that low in ETH terms without a ton of despair. Consider that we had a successful merge, MEV is working, and LEBs are feature complete and headed for audits since the last time we were that low. So then he shares a chart of the RPL price, which is here in blue, and the ratio, which is here in red. And as you can see, the ratio now is doing really well. It's holding up really well. There was this period for the first 4 or 5 months of the year where it was pretty much flat at 0.01, 0.11, somewhere along there. And then it went down around June when the rest of the market crashed. And after that, it was pretty much up only until leading into the merge. And since then, we've kind of corrected, but it looks like we've stabilized where we are now. And I don't want to tempt fate or anything, but I'm just saying that's what it kind of looks like. The price has kind of bounced off those lows as well and is looking stable for the last few days. However, anything can happen. This kind of ties in with other discussions that people have been having about whether the crypto market as a whole has bottomed or not. I'm still of the opinion that the ETH and RPL have bottomed in dollar terms, and that was in June. I don't think we'll be seeing new lows from there. However, a lot of people who I respect a lot seem to think that we haven't bottomed yet and that there's still a lot of pain ahead. So, hey, I think when you're kind of not sure about... Hoja came in with a good, really good perspective as well. And he says there's continual growth of mini pools like 200 to 250 a week, and that increases the RPL staked. When effective stake is near 100%, the only stable portion of RPL from the node operator is the 5% APR. If you look at the recent huge sellers of RPL, it's usually people who bought and have done nothing with it, i.e. speculators. And then there's like some links there. Click on the big red candles, inspect the wallets that have made big sales. So essentially, why it's holding up, in my opinion, is bulk of selling is from bearish speculators. Continual mini pool growth requiring RPL is outstripping bearish speculators. Minimum 320 ETH of RPL per week, becoming illiquid. So that's a big deal as well, right? It's a really interesting perspective. But I think we just have to wait and see what happens, right? Like, there's always a possibility that the market will dump on us. There's always a possibility that the market will pump on us. Curious George, in this kind of situation, I think what some seasoned investors are starting to do now is DCA in. So they'll set a weekly buy or a monthly buy or a daily buy even. And every day at a certain time, they'll just buy regardless of what the price is doing. So instead of buying, like 10 ETH worth of RPL now, they would buy 0.2 ETH worth of RPL every day for the next 50 days or whatever it is. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting discussion that happened. Something really cool that happened that Waldorf shared was this new bot that you can use now in trading and in other in the main Rocket Pool Discord. So it's part of the support bot that Invis created. So the command is /support template use, and then the name of this particular version of that is the Rocket Fuel links. So this is how to call up all the links to get the different kinds of media that Rocket Fuel is available in. So here you have YouTube, you have the podcast RSS, where you can plug that RSS link into any podcast app that you use. There's Anchor FM, which is kind of like the homepage of the Rocket Fuel podcast now. There's a Spotify link and there's Apple Podcast link. They're all live, they're all ready to go, which is really amazing. So people are already making use of all these links. They're also on the top page of the Twitter, which is Twitter @WackWackAttack, which is my Discord username as well. And yeah, you can find all the links, you can find all the media there. So it's really nice that Val put this together as part of Invis's bot. So if anyone asks about where to find Rocket Fuel, you can just use this bot now, and it will bring up all the latest links. So as I add more podcasts, I'll let Val know, and he can add them all here as well. And please leave me a message if there's any podcast platform that you particularly want to use and I don't cater to at the moment. Let me know, and I'll make sure that Rocket Fuel gets listed onto that platform as well. So let's move on from that. We had this really cool tweet thread from Jasper overnight where he was discussing with Micah about Rocket Pool and Ethereum staking. So let's go back to the beginning and have a look. So it's a really long tweet thread. Well, it's actually a really, really long tweet thread that was talking about ENS having $50 million worth of crypto ETH in their DAO, and about how they can stake it and what the possibilities are. And then Micah was talking about what kind of services are available and why you should stay out of them, and how ENS shouldn't be in the trading game, this high risk thing to do. And then Jasper got involved and was saying about how they can stake through Rocket Pool, right? And it's the best staking pool that you can use if you don't have the 32 ETH, but also if you don't want to actively manage your staking, you can just swap it for our ETH, and then you get all those staking rewards, MEV and tip rewards as well. So yeah, this was like quite a long thread, and you can have a look. And yeah, so Micah was saying that I agree with most of what you have said, except using a staking pool. And he said staking pools hurt Ethereum security, though not as much as custodial staking. If you have more than 32 ETH, you should be solo staking. And then Jasper says you can't. Your best bet is support. Nick says, how would a DAO do solo staking? And then Jasper says you can't. Your best bet is supporting a staking pool that supports solo stakers. Currently, that is only Rocket Pool, but hopefully Stakewise as well. And Micah says you can't currently, which is why I wouldn't stake with a DAO treasury. Giving to a staking pool while not being a node operator just funds potential attackers. And then Jasper says staking pools that allow node operators are fundamentally different security profiles than permissioned. Maybe this changes post withdrawals. And then Jasper kind of like links the discusses the hierarchy of like safe to not safe. And he says solo staking is safer than RP node op, which is much safer than RETH, which is much safer than STETH, which is safer than CBETH, the Coinbase ETH. And Micah says, yes, if you're a Rocket Pool node operator and not malicious, you can help secure Ethereum. If you're RP node operator and malicious, you can attack Ethereum up to half the cost. If you're an RETH holder, you're making your money available to one of those two. So if you buy RETH. So I think Micah has a fundamental misunderstanding of how Rocket Pool works, and I think Jasper did a really good job of explaining it here. He says, my point is that the idea of using Rocket Pool to attack the network is out of touch with how the staking flow is happening. If you're an RETH holder, you made your ETH available. There's only 5k ETH available from malicious actor. The timescales involved to use Rocket Pool are too far-fetched. Staking as a whole will be substantially different well before any attacker could meaningfully leverage through Rocket Pool. The net benefit we get by promoting our ETH in the short-term pre-withdrawals, in my opinion, far outweighs the risks given 1,000 node operators we've brought in. And then Micah says, if I understand correctly, you're basically arguing that Rocket Pool is fine as long as it doesn't have many users. Nice hash was the same. Then one day it had enough users and people used it to attack with. And Jasper clarifies his argument. He says, more so my argument is that Rocket Pool stake growth is too slow to abuse and that the network upgrades will make it very hard to abuse long term, starting with withdrawals and culminating in forced exits. Would you be happier if Rocket Pool codified a hard cap? It's been proposed. I'll also add that Rocket Pool community is incredibly active and monitors every single operator, especially the whales. An attacker would quickly become the dominant pool member and draw widespread attention. I just don't think using Rocket Pool to attack Ethereum is feasible. So this was a really cool comments that Jasper made, and then he came back into trading to kind of have some discussions about how even SAS doesn't push that. Like Dondo says, SAS gives his argument firepower, doesn't it? And Jasper says SAS is still limited by our ETH. I think the crux of this argument is that to really valuably attack Ethereum, you need to control a minimum of 33% of the stake. Now, 33% of the stake right now is 5 million ETH. Rocket Pool in total holds 300,000 ETH as its TVL, or the ETH part. So we're nowhere near being up to the point where you can use Rocket Pool significantly to attack the Ethereum network. The team has already discussed their idea of hard capping at 22%, so it doesn't even get anywhere near the 33%. So Rocket Pool, anyone can spin up a Rocket Pool node, whether that's North Korea, whether that's the US government, whoever wants to do that, they can do that. They can stake through it. The argument, I guess I think it was Dondo or someone else made, was that, maybe if they start providing the RETH side as well, but then it's just futile. You could just spin up your own solo nodes, solo validators at that point. So Rocket Pool, I think, and I totally agree with Jasper here, it's very difficult to use Rocket Pool as an attack vector against Ethereum because of all those factors that we just mentioned. First of all, there's not enough supply. If we have enough supply, then the team and the community has strongly hinted towards putting in a hard cap, which I would definitely support. If we were reaching 22% of the network, and then the community of the team decided against using a hard cap, I think at that point I would exit my node from Rocket Pool, and either I'd become a solo staker or I'd go to a different service. So I think that Micah has some learning to do about what the Rocket Pool actually does. And it's quite telling that he didn't actually reply to the last comments from Jasper here. So, yeah. Okay, next we have this comment from Mikavert, who said, just launched my pool. Thanks for the Rocket Arb, great tool. So I've talked about Rocket Arb here a bunch over the last few weeks and months. And let me see, there's this comment here from Ramana that I want to bring up here, right here. So there are a couple of things. Ramana says, risks and disclaimers. I push code to the repo without testing it and accept no responsibility for losses. Also, 90 mini pools have already made money like this so far. So the two reasons why people are using the Rocket ARB contract right now is one, because the premium is high, so they're getting around 0.2 ETH as a cashback for setting up their mini pool, which is really nice. Also, the MEV blocks for this month were really good. So because of the code not being fully optimized that Joe wants to optimize next month, you can get outsized returns from MEV on your mini pool that's only been active for a few days. So use this, like 90 people already have. If you use this, you'll be getting some really nice returns there. So that's something to definitely to think about. Finally, we have this post that I made yesterday. I said everyone who contributed something to Rocket Fuel in October was sent a POAP today. If you've contributed and you didn't get a POAP, please bring it to my attention and I'll fix it. So I finally got around to sending the contributor POAPs for people who like shared links with me to make it easier for me to find things and bringing things to my attention that I might have missed otherwise. And this is what the POAP looks like. It's called the Rocket Fuel October 2020 contributor POAP. And let me see if I can zoom into that. And it's just the Rocket Pool logo. Well, a rocket and a fuel emoji, and it says Rocket Pool Contributor October 2022. So of course the first one had to be orange. The next ones are going to be different colors. I want to give a shout out to Shifrin, who was kind enough to make this POAP, the design, and also made POAPs for every month leading up to December 2023. So I have enough POAPs for the next like 14 more months. And I'll be distributing them every month. Now that I've got everything in place, it's really easy to do that. So contribute to Rocket Fuel, get a POAP. I said as well that, you know, if anyone has feels like they're contributed and didn't get a POAP, reach out to me, let me know how you contributed, and I'll send you a link to claim a POAP for yourself. So on that note, I am going to finish today's Rocket Fuel. I hope you all have a lovely weekend ahead, and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.